What is up, everybody? It is Monday again, so we got a Monday metagame update for you. We're talking standard, historic, alchemy, and some tournament results again, back from a little hiatus there. And finally, a few sweet brews on Twitter that are very spicy. So let's get into it. Alrighty, let's get started with standard as per usual. And standard, very stale at the moment, I would say. No real innovation going on here. Best decks and best of one still, like humans, not-humans, mono-white humans, toxic, mono-red, Azorius soldiers, etc. So all the aggro decks. Nothing has a super amazing win rate, I guess, except for humans. Pretty respectable there. The rest are all sitting around 55. So you can kind of play anything you want, but nothing does super great besides humans. So that's your choice. Um, yeah, not much more to say there. I did want to take a look at the Naya humans deck just to see what people are running. This one has a whopping 67% win rate. Pretty crazy. I mean, small sample size, but still, that's pretty good. And they're looks like they're mostly running mono white humans, and then just splashing Helena Elena and a few of these Sigardas and Molinas and stuff. So mostly white, splashing for the like really good other cards. Um, and that's it. So Naya, new version of Naya, doing quite strong in standard. Best of one. So let's take a look at best of three. We still see that Demir is doing quite well, which is interesting. And it's kind of crazy how different best of one and best of three are in this format, at least. Like, we have these two top decks are not even playable in best of one. I mean, they're playable, but they're not going to have very high win rates, maybe 53% or 54%. And then Orzhov also not really playable in best of one. And then we see here mono red, as per control. And I guess not a whole lot of data right now for best of three for the last 7 days, but I know that mono white is respectable and Azorius soldiers is also very respectable in best of three, but you're gonna have a lot more of these control decks because you can sideboard into removal for the aggro decks. So yeah, I think these kind of are your top two choices right now for best of three, mono black and Demir. So we can take a look at the mono black. But it's pretty straightforward. Just Shieldred, Trespasser, Underdog, lots of removal, Gix Command, etc. Pretty much exactly what you'd expect. All the best cards in black doing quite well, 61.3%. And then if we look over at historic, I'm actually pretty surprised at these results. I mean, we've seen these decks before, but Rakdos got quite a lot of new power in this last set, and yet it's not the top deck. So that is surprising for me. It's certainly still very, very strong, don't get me wrong, but I'm really surprised to see that these Boros and Esper Affinity decks are both doing so well, like, kind of beating the Rakdos decks. Maybe they were just a little bit sleeper decks before and people didn't realize how powerful they were. But now, Wizards is not doing so well, Goblin's not doing well, Belcher's not doing so well. So yeah, it's just good enough to kill all those main decks, it looks like. And I kind of think Wizards have been sabotaging themselves by trying to play some of the new cards in there. I really don't think the deck got better with the new additions that people are trying out. So my recommendation to you is go back to what you were playing before if you love Wizards. Cut out the new cards. Every time I see someone cast the birthday celebration or whatever, then I kind of just think to myself that I got a free turn. So it's kind of like a free time walk because you just wasted, your mana or half your mana doing nothing. So yeah, that's my recommendation. But yeah, let's take a look at the Boros Thopter list because I was curious why it's so good. But I didn't really see anything new or special in here. It looks just like the stock list that's been played for a while now. I guess Yotia declares war and the Shadow Spear are not always in every version of this deck. But the rest pretty straightforward. Michiko, Toolcraft, Retrofitter. This card is totally just unbelievably broken. I know they'll never ban anything, but I would be up for banning this one. But anyway, yeah, I guess that's what makes the deck work, is the Sentinel and the Retrofitter. Yeah, this looks pretty normal, so nothing special there. But it can beat Rakdos, so there is that going for it. And yeah, let's move on to Alchemy. So Alchemy, least popular format, but actually has the most variety, not variety, most new decks, I guess I should say, that came out of the last set. Azorius Control, not Soldiers, this time it's Control. Azorius Control is dominating a lot, but it's not the best. I mean, Rakdos is still up there, very strong. So Control and Rakdos kind of the two powerhouses of the format fighting each other. And then we have this newcomer, 5-color Legends, which is pretty interesting. It's using the Delighted Halfling to give you good mana. And then Joda, Hazaret, Aragorn, Buena. So lots of really crazy cards in here that didn't see a lot of play that were very powerful. Now suddenly being mixed into this 5-color deck. I think it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm missing probably too many cards to be able to play it, but yeah, it's interesting. So if you have like a lot of cards or most of the cards, maybe try it out. Looks pretty fun. And Joda is always cool. All right, that's it for the meta right now. So again, a little bit stale in most of the formats. I think the last set didn't do that much to shake up besides the one ring being everywhere. So we'll have to wait for the next set in September, pretty far away. Hopefully that will shake things up, but they're not rotating, so it's really rough. Maybe we're gonna have just a stale format for a long time. We'll see. All right, well, I hope not, but let's take a look at this Pizza Box Slice tournament, and the winner of this one was playing Esper Midrange. And this one is kind of a new deck that at least I've never seen before. Basically, it's the Orzhov control list, but they're running some of these earlier creatures like Graveyard Trespasser, Underdog, and they're also running some of the really good Esper cards like the Make Disappear, Void Rend, and Memory Deluge, I guess. So, very interesting take on the Esper midrange or Esper control or whatever you want to call it. Kind of an amalgamation of some of the mono black and the Esper control decks together. But they made it work and they won the tournament, so props to them. 5-color control also, kind of a new deck, doing well, getting second place. And it looks like it's kind of a Planeswalker pile. They got Nissa, Kaya, Wandering Emperor, Eternal Wanderer, Traxa, Shieldred. So I guess just ramp and get to the late game and then win the game. Maybe that's standard right now. It's just ramp and get to your late game. And then third place, Mono Red. So Mono Red still one of your best choices for aggro, even getting tournament results. So that tells you that it's legit. You gotta respect it, Mono Red. All right, that's the only new tournament for this weekend. But we do have some cool Twitter decks. Ash Lizzle here, she's a historic player. She's quite good. Always getting very high on the mythic ladder. And she loves to play kind of off-meta decks. Very combo-y style decks, very sacrifice style decks. And so she has been playing the Jund Cat Samwise Gamgee deck, the new like cat oven type deck. And doing very, very well. Blood Artist, Cauldron Familiar, get some ramp with your Halfling, Wolf Strider, and Samwise Gamgee. Yeah, it's a scary, like I told you guys before, it's very scary in the right hands. It is super powerful. She went 27-2 in historic. That is just insane. So yeah, you can see that this deck is very good. It's just not enough people playing it, and probably not enough people are good at the sacrifice type archetype. I think if you played the Cat Oven decks before, you have a good shot to be able to pilot this one, and yeah, it's pretty strong. So give it a give it a shot. It's definitely a good deck. She's proved it here. 27-2 in Historic. You can do it. So yeah, go for it. All right, another Twitter deck we got here. This person did very well with same deck, Samwise combo, and also Grixis Pact. It's not. I don't think it's exactly the same deck, but similar. Yeah, they're running Gilded Goose. I don't think they had that. But yeah, that just showing you that the archetype is quite good. So even if you have a different list, or maybe you're not as good a pilot as Ash Lizzle, but you can still get some really nice results there. And then the Grixis Pact one is interesting. I did play against it a little bit on ladder, but I don't see a deck list here. So yeah, I'm not sure. But very cool. Yeah, it looks like your Grixis plus Jace mill, and you got your ring to draw you just a million cards. So you're kind of playing both angles, the Rakdos and the Pact win con. So interesting. Might be worth trying. I hate Crucius, but if you just have one Crucius, maybe it's not so bad. I don't know. Yeah, pretty cool. All right, and then the final two decks actually from this player. They were on insane win streaks, 14-0 with this Yawgmoth deck in Historic, and 18-8 with Spirits, which is respectable, but definitely not as impressive as 14-0. So yeah, this was the Yawgmoth deck. Yawgmoth Thoran Physician is a good card, and it's in Historic. And you can use the Bowmasters, which make a bunch of tokens. You can sack them. You got your Innkeepers. You got your Halflings to ramp you into Yawgmoth or into Sheoldred or whatever. So pretty legit. And One Ring as well, of course, to draw you a bunch of cards. Yeah, just you want to sacrifice your stuff and get some value off it. So pretty cool. I would have to really dive into this deck to understand everything that it's trying to do. I know Yawgmoth is kind of like removal and draw. So if you can get it to stick or have some creatures down and have stuff that you can activate right when you play it, then usually you're having a pretty good time. And I think probably this would only struggle against maybe combo style decks in Historic, but recently they have kind of fallen off, I would say, because of all the really fast, aggressive decks that are winning in Historic right now. So yeah, give it a shot. It's another deck that is really, really good. So, yeah, just not on the Untapped.gg ladder ranking right now. And then the Spirits deck, this one was around for a little while, but it looks like he added a few extra cards like Reprieve, which is a nice pickup for Spirits, and Andoril, which makes Spirits when they attack. Pretty interesting card, but a little bit expensive, so hard to say if it's worth it. But I guess if you get it to equip and attack, you're gonna probably win the game, at least very quickly. So could be worth it. But nonetheless, very interesting, and I think Reprieve definitely does help the Spirits deck kind of bump up a level from where it was before. Yeah, okay, I guess that's it. So my thoughts right now, Historic I think is still pretty wide open. Like you can try a lot of different decks. So the One Ring is quite powerful, so anything that goes long, any late game type decks kind of needs the One Ring in it to do well. Definitely a really, really strong card. And then there's tons of aggressive decks that are still doing well, but they're not really playing any of the new cards. Besides that, I think Reprieve, the One Ring, Reprieve and the One Rings are the two cards that kind of survive from the new set. You see Bowmasters from time to time, but I think it's really has to be in a very specific deck to be good. Like maybe in a deck that's super controlling and yet that's your only like creature to pick off little 1/1s or 2/1s, and also have like a long-term win con. It's good against Phoenix. I think that's why Phoenix probably is not seeing much play recently. And I guess Wizards also draws a few cards, so probably decent against Wizards. But that might be why those decks kind of gone down in favor in Historic. But Crucius, still scary card. Crucius plus Ring plus Shieldred. Yeah, very annoying. So I'm glad that there's a few of these other decks which people are getting to work for them. Young Moth and the Samwise Gamgee combo. So maybe we'll see some changes, or maybe they'll finally ban Crucius after this historic anthology set comes out, which is coming out in, I believe, like 10 days. 10 days from now, I think it is, like the 20th. I'll have to double check that, but pretty soon we're going to get Explorer and historic anthologies, which they're kind of finishing all the remaining Explorer cards to make the format somewhat caught up with Pioneer. So if you're a big fan of that, check it out. And then those cards are also in Historic. So Historic should get a new push of power that might upset some of these rankings. So we'll see. Standard, unfortunately, Standard is the same. It's going to be the same until September. And even after September, might not see much change. But there's hope. They did say that there might be some bannings right before the next set comes out. So I hope so. I hope they ban a lot of things and the new set is fun, but we'll see. All right, well, that's it for this Monday metagame update. Go out there, have some fun. I'm having fun in Historic. I don't know if everybody's enjoying the content, but I'm definitely having fun. Let me know if you're having fun too. And until next time, see ya.